Hey cousins, happy Tuesday. We have quite the range of topics today. The closing story today is about a woman whose botched Brazilian butt lift was so bad that her sit down air was stinking to the point that her man left her. And you would not think, or you would think that she would get some
Run away with that.
support, but instead the BBL baddies community is
Just
mad
leave
at
the
her.
photos in.
And then joining the hood rattery discussion today is Jasmine Crockett and how she just has no shame in calling for illegal immigrants to pick our crops and to pick our cotton. Oh, yes. Between her and the prehistoric synthetic wig that she's always wearing and the revival of an extinct species, oh, yes, I am starting to side eye many elements of modern science. But all of that and so much more. But on a very serious note, I have some updates for you guys regarding Austin Metcalf and his murder, the 17-year-old teenager who was murdered by a black teenager. And the support for this murderer is to the point that he has raised over $100,000 for his legal defense. It's truly, truly disgusting, and people are truly, truly sick. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Welcome to Respectfully. So by now, I assume everybody is familiar with what is going on with Austin Metcalf, the teenager that was senselessly and ruthlessly murdered by the 17-year-old teenager named Carmelo Anthony. And it's really a heartbreaking story. I did a whole recap on it last week that you guys can go back and watch. But essentially, they were arguing over a seat, and it led to Carmelo Anthony, a black student over at a rival high school in Frisco, Texas, stabbing Austin in the heart and taking his life, where he died in the arms of his twin brother. Now, the conversation has gotten really controversial for a number of reasons. It's gotten really, really polarized, and it just shows how divided our country is as a whole at this point. But there's so many developing elements of this that I think are worth unpacking. One of the more irrelevant things, but a lot of people were mad at me for when I did my whole analysis last week. A lot of you, first of all, were saying that I was being anti-black because I said that Carmelo's name was ghetto. Let me clarify. The reason I think Carmelo Anthony's name is ghetto is not because it sounds like a black name. His name is ghetto because Carmelo Anthony, if you don't know, is a basketball player. His name is spelled with a C. So Carmelo, the murderer, was named after that basketball player, but they changed his name to be spelled with a K. That's like if my last name was Bryant and I named my child Kobe with a C, Kobe Bryant, but with a C, that's ghetto. It's like Michael Jordan, but with a K, ghetto. Jabron James. Let me find somebody name their kid Jabron James. That is ghetto. So I stand on what I said, but stop trying to call me anti-black for that. You always have a new reason to try to call me a coon, but that one we're not having. Okay, calm down. But anyway, the money raised for Carmelo is extremely alarming. Do we have the total of what it ended up getting up to? Last I saw, it was well over 120,000. I believe we have a screen grab of that GoFundMe. Do we have that? Yeah, so he got up to, I don't have my eyes on. He had a goal of 300K. He was at about $250,000. So he reached $250,000 donations. $250,000 of people donating to a fund to defend and support Carmelo Anthony after he just stabbed one of his peers directly in the chest. Is that not just insane? That is, you have to be a truly sick person. Regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the details of what led up to Austin being stabbed, there was nothing that was severe enough to justify what Carmelo did. So to have a $250,000 fund from just people all over the country outraged, that is disgusting. Now, I do want to clarify, GoFundMe did delete this campaign. It is against their terms and services to raise any kind of money that is regarding the legal defense of a violent crime. So I at least give them props there because I believe they deleted Kyle Rittenhouse's defense too back when that happened years ago. And everybody was up in arms about that. And, with this situation here, I'm happy that they deleted the fund and they refunded all the money to the people who donated, because what are you doing? Why are you putting money towards the fund of somebody that is guilty as hell? Okay, allegedly. I still have to say allegedly. Oh, I should have sent it to the team too. I got a legal notice for talking about this, for calling Carmelo Anthony evil. I got a legal notice from a group that doesn't even actually rep him yet telling me that it was defamatory for me to say that Carmelo Anthony is evil and belongs in prison because I'm demonizing black youth before he has stood in front of the court of law. He already admitted to stabbing the kid in the chest, and there's plenty of witnesses, okay? I don't need too much extra context. What he did was evil, and I stand on what I said, and if you want to sue me for that, my legal funding is very long. Try me if you want to, because I'm very, very comfortable in a courtroom. Now, that being said, when it comes to this GoFundMe, one of the ongoing narratives is people asking why. And we talked about this a little bit last week because if y'all remember, I was getting dragged by my scalp last week for trying to explain all perspectives at the time of what had happened in this situation. I'm very clear about where I stand on it, but I'm also giving you the context of how other people view it, because I'm not in the business of telling you what to think. I want to give you guys the information and the tools so that you can come to your own conclusions as well. And I feel like my sane cousins, my cousins that aren't crackheadish like Buki and them, y'all understand what it is I'm trying to explain here. So there was a tweet asking, there was thousands, literally thousands of tweets of people talking about this GoFundMe and asking the question, why? Why are people donating? Perfect example, my friend Alexandra Lanes. If you don't know her, and you guys know I don't give fake compliments. I'm low-key rude. Alexandra Lanes, if you don't know her, Living Life, I think it's Living Life with Alex is her Instagram handle. That's one of the most underrated conservative voices in this space. I'm not kidding. She gets called the verbal sniper. If there is someone that you want to check out for amazing content and amazing takes on basically everything, Alexandra Lane. She's the next big thing. Don't sleep on her. But she made a tweet where she said, why are people donating money to a teenager for murdering another teenager? Have you all lost your collective minds? Yes. The simple answer is yes. And her tweet was one of thousands of people genuinely wondering why. Now, my response to that question, outside of just the word yes, is, do you guys want to have an honest conversation or do you not? Okay, and I say that and I preface with that because, again, when I try to provide extra details and context, I feel like people get so mad at me as if I'm the one making these allegations. But no, I want to really break down for you guys what it is that people are saying and what I don't believe the reason is. Because a lot of people are oversimplifying the situation and just making it solely about race. So Matt Walsh's tweet, I keep talking about this and I will continue talking about it because this tweet really has lived in my head rent free. This tweet from Matt Walsh after the whole incident happened. Too much, y'all know I got my eyes on. Let me pull this up, but you can see it on the screen. Matt Walsh said, and again, if I told you that a young man stabbed another young man to death for telling him that he was in the wrong seat, and then I told you one young man in this altercation was white and the other was black, and then I asked you to guess the race of the assailant, every single person would know the answer immediately. Young black males are violent to a wildly outrageously disproportionate degree. And he goes on, and he actually has another tweet I should have pulled up, but here's another tweet more recently where he talks about how basically saying that the reason that all these people are supporting this GoFundMe is because Carmelo is black. It has been turned into a straight up racial issue. I personally think that's oversimplifying it. I get why people have that perspective, though. I get why people think that people are donating to Carmelo just because he's black. Is that a part of it? Probably. Absolutely, actually. There's a lot of people saying that they're not just going to sit there and assume that this black person is guilty. But I don't think this is like an O.J. Simpson situation. You know, the more I learn about O.J., because I don't know if I was born when O.J. allegedly committed murder. But if I was definitely very young, but I don't think I was born at that time. But the more that I've learned about that situation in retrospect, any of you who thought that that man was innocent, you're insane. Okay, because a glove didn't fit, you think that that's enough reason to think that this man is innocent? Okay, like, be so for real. When the victim's blood is in his car and he's driving like a maniac down the street. Shout out to Trace Gallagher for that live breaking news reporting. But I bring that up because a lot of people are saying that this is like an O.J. Simpson situation, where a lot of the people who supported O.J., it was simply because they wanted to see a black man get away with murder as getting their lick back at white people, which is, again, why I have so many conversations about how this racial tension and this back and forth needs to stop. The answer to white supremacy is not black supremacy, okay? The answer to the response to the trauma that your ancestors endured is not now trying to make white people suffer today. If you really want to make your ancestors proud, I think that you should embrace equality. If you really want to make your ancestors proud, you don't sit there and adopt the struggles and the hardship and the pain that they went through, because we are so far beyond that. But that's my message to the Black community, because there are some people who feel that way, but I don't think that's the only reason why people are supporting Carmelo, which, again, I am not on Carmelo's team at all. I'm just giving you more context in case you genuinely want to know why people are donating. This is what this deranged woman had to say.
Y'all not gonna make me believe or feel any kind of sympathy for Austin Metcalf at all. He put his hands on that young man when he should have kept them hands to himself. When the young man told him, touch me and see, you better not touch me, that meant that I don't want you in my space. I don't want you touching me. Rosa Parks days is over. You cannot think that you can move somebody out of a seat that you don't own and think that it's going to be okay. And you can't determine how I'm going to retaliate on you when you put your hands on me in an aggressive manner. Austin Metcalf got exactly what he deserved. Point blank, period. It's time out for feeling sorry for somebody's feelings or feeling emotional about somebody's feelings. Austin Metcalf should have kept his damn hands to himself. Point blank, period.
Oh, that just made my stomach sick. I only saw the first 10, 15 seconds of this video earlier, and I was like, yeah, I got to react to that. I didn't hear the end part where she said that Austin had that coming to him. That really just like made my stomach turn. That is a grown woman sitting here celebrating the death, the murder of a 17-year-old kid. What the hell is happening to our society? Like, that is just such I feel like I'm speechless, like I was the last time I talked about this. It just blows me away to see that this is really how people think. How animalistic of a mindset do you have to sit here and romanticize the fact that a 17-year-old just died in his identical twin brother's arms over a seat? You think it's that serious? You think the life of a white person is that meaningless that they should die over saying, get out of the tent that you don't own? When people say white lives matter, I get it. I get it. White lives do matter. Brown ones do too. And we'll talk about that later and why that's part of this title. But white lives do matter. So for you to sit here and have the comfortability to act like because this white teenager did what pretty much everybody on his team would have done too and told this kid to get out of our tent, you literally are not supposed to be here. You think that that was justification for him to be murdered? That is disgusting. That is just beyond disgusting. And I beseech you to find God. Because I don't know who that woman is worshiping, but I know it's something evil because it's not my God. Okay? That is wild. Wild for you to be a grown-ass woman. Oops, not me cursing on a PragerU platform. Not you being a grown woman sitting here celebrating the death of a teenager. You should be ashamed of yourself. And one of the many differences between this case and Rosa Parks, you know, Rosa Parks and that whole story to this day blows my mind that people don't know that the Rosa Parks thing was planned, which I actually think people would respect that more if you learn the full story of Rosa Parks and how this was a coordinated effort. This wasn't just some black woman acting crazy and breaking the law. This was a black woman that there was a whole situation there. I feel like black students would benefit a lot if they actually learned the details of a situation like Rosa Parks, because it's like, oh no, this was strategic. This wasn't just reckless. But with Rosa Parks, she was sitting in a seat that legally she was not supposed to. Shout out to Rosa Parks. But when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, you have your own section to sit in that is equitable. It's a track meet. You don't have to be under some rival team's tent. And again, for people who don't understand that, as someone who ran track for many years, you are compromising your own well-being when you have some stranger in your tent. Your hydration kits are there, or in simpler words, your water is there, your food is there, your equipment is there, your valuables are there, all the things that can be stolen or tampered with. And track gets very serious. Okay, I feel like a lot of people underestimate how intense high school sports get, especially this time of year when you're dealing with seniors who their entire career is backed on their sports scholarships, it gets very severe. So no, let's not downplay that Carmelo was sitting somewhere that he wasn't supposed to be. Now, getting back to the main part of this conversation today is, why are people supporting Carmelo Anthony? Exhibit A. Ignorance. It's people who are ignorant and are so emotionally and racially charged and just so blinded by their own narrative that they feel the need to stand by him. Now, the other aspect of this, the more controversial aspect of it, or equally at this point, is a lot of people are trying to really paint Carmelo as the victim here. I actually had a number of students DM me claiming that they're from Frisco area, and they were all sending me different pieces of information that I'm not going to entertain too much, just because, you know, they sent me their receipts showing that they actually are from this area and trying to tell me what they're saying. But basically the narrative that's happening is they are trying to paint Austin out to be this bully, and they're trying to say that they're alleging that Austin broke Carmelo's phone. Some are saying that he broke it the night before and that he actually did know Carmelo. Then they're like adding extra elements in of how aggressive Austin was getting before, and like if he grabbed him, grabbed his backpack, pushed him, all these different things. And they're making it seem like they were in a, basically about to get into a fist fight, and with Austin and his twin being, I'm assuming it looks like he's bigger than Carmelo, they're trying to justify that Carmelo was defending himself. They're comparing it to Kyle Rittenhouse. But here's the thing about that. Let's say worst case scenario, every allegation is true. Let's say every allegation of what Austin allegedly did to Carmelo is true. Even with all the different things that led up to that combined, none of that equates to stabbing a kid in the heart. Okay? Sometimes you got to get into a fist fight. Sometimes you just go and get a supervisor. And if all of that is true, I'll admit, maybe Austin wasn't an angel. What 17-year-old jock do you know that is? Okay, come on now, be so for real. Okay, I'm not saying that Austin Metcalf is a perfect angel. He might have had some play in the tension there that led to some self-defense, but self-defense does not include stabbing someone in the heart. Is it not common sense that that is excessive force? And when you go for the heart, you know what you're doing. You tried to take the man's life, and you did. So what Carmelo did is objectively evil. That is not self-defense. That is murder. At the very least, that is voluntary manslaughter. If I had to make a prediction, I think he's going to end up walking with, I think he's going to end up getting charged with voluntary manslaughter more than murder. But in my book, it's the same thing. It's the same thing in my book. And nothing, no allegation, no rumor, no bullying situation. I wouldn't care if Austin slapped the taste out of Carmelo's mouth before this all happened. That still does not justify stabbing him in the heart, in murdering him. It is not that serious. And now there's all this racial division and all these people coming at literally the entire Black community, which we're going to talk about on Thursday. Y'all aren't ready for the Thursday episode, okay? But all this tension is going on, and I feel like we're going 50 steps backwards when it comes to progressing as a society past racism. Now everybody's up in arms fighting with each other, and it's because y'all are too ignorant to admit when somebody is wrong. And why is it that my people, I love being Black. It's against the popular narrative online where people try to tell me that I'm anti-Black. I love being Black, but I also love being Black so much that I'm willing to fall on this sword 1,000 times and ask, why are we as a collective so angry? Yes, slavery happened. Yes, Jim Crow happened. Yes, there are still racist people out there. Our country's not racist, but there are still racist people out there. But why are so many people so angry? Do you think that these other demographics haven't been through hell too? Do you think that the Irish, the Greeks, all these other demographics, like, why do we sit here and try to justify how angry and aggressive and violent so many people in the Black community are? And obviously, I'm not talking about all, because it doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to majority of Black people, but the ones that it does, it's disproportionate. If we're just talking about proportionalities here, it is a disproportionate amount of people in the Black community that are committing these violent crimes that are so senseless. And it's heartbreaking to see, because now not only has Austin left this world and lost his life, but Carmelo Anthony, based on what I'm reading online, he seemed to be a decent kid before all this. It sounds like he had good grades. There's this joke going around saying that he had a 3.7 GPA and it was all 3 years combined. That's not true. Okay, he wouldn't even be eligible for sports. So it sounded like he had good grades. He was a multi-sport athlete. He had ambitions to go to college and play sports. He had all this life ahead of him. And now he's going to be spending those years in a cold, lonely prison cell. It's tragic.
Just wanted to clarify one note too. With the GoFundMe, they did in fact pull that. And the screenshot that we pulled up was a part of a website called Give, Send, Go, where it is currently still active. If you take a look here, you can see that there are donations still coming into this moment. There are prayer requests. There are a lot of different things on this website that are a little bit different, but just wanted to let you know that. It's just interesting.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. So the GoFundMe was taken down, but so that means, because I did see the GoFundMe, so that means he has multiple funds that are over 6 figures. This is crazy. This is really disgusting. I'm concerned. The Black community is in a state of emergency, and literally all the liberals, because the narrative that it's only Black people supporting this, I don't like that either. Let's wake that up real quick. There's a whole lot of white liberals that are supporting this too, and Marxists that are supporting this. This is disgusting. And, you know, and I hate to say it, but I go on, when I want to really tap into what the Black community is thinking, just like on a more personal level, because, you know, I always say the shade room. I also go to my Facebook and see what my cousins are saying. I have a lot of Marxist cousins. And of course, I was ashamed to see how many of them are supporting Carmelo. Did this just go down? Oh, no, my laptop just locked. So it's really a shame to see the way that people are handling all of this situation. And, you know, when we talk about just the violence that's happening in the Black community, just to liven this up, because I don't want this whole episode to be dark and sad like the last one was. But at the same time, it applies. I read a headline that talked about how so crazy. I read a headline on a different note that talked about how there was a McDonald's worker who whooped and choked a 17-year-old girl. The 17-year-old girl is okay, but the reason was because the 17-year-old girl got mad that she wanted some ranch at McDonald's. It wasn't getting it fast enough, so she went to the back and grabbed it herself. Now, when I read this headline, I was like, for the love of God, don't let it be a Black person. Don't let it be a Black person. But of course, it was. Akina Sampson, girl, you were almost the goofy of the day. Akina Sampson, look at this mug. You know, these fast food workers really take their job seriously. I will say that. Akina Sampson was charged with child abuse, and she has since been released from county jail after posting a $2,500 bond. But she got so mad at this 17-year-old girl, this young child, or young teenager, I should say, for reaching back to get some ranch. Why are you putting your hands on her? What is happening in our community? Okay, we can't keep allowing violence to be so normalized. We can't keep allowing violence to be the answer, okay? Because, girl, why are you over here in a McRumble? You over here are throwing hands over some ranch. And the crazy, and I can't stand the internet, because why was like the #1 question everybody was asking, so much so that it was in the criminal report that it was not disclosed whether or not the girl got the ranch she wanted or if she walked away with any packages of ranch. Child, not the McRumble. I can't. Throwing hands. If you're going to fight about anything at McDonald's, let it be the ice cream machine. Okay? Not over some ranch. Let's get ready to McRumble is crazy. Was that Will? Will and Mr. Rodriguez are back there cutting up. Y'all are too much, but I had to lighten that up before we get to our actual goofy of the day. Plantation Massa, Jasmine Crockett, we here for you, Massa. Jasmine wig sliding Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett, the Texas gal, this bad Texas gal. She wants illegal immigrants to pick cotton. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. These are her own words. Her wig is always sliding all over the place. Notice how her wig is never in the same spot. I'm not over the fact that New York Times, shout out to New York Times, for I haven't done my full breakdown on that because I'm waiting for it to be in print. But New York Times actually played in my face a little bit. I gave Jasmine Crockett one compliment, and shout out to Kellen Browning, the journalist who did the story. Great guy. But he put in there that I praised Jasmine Crockett. Don't do too much, okay? Don't do too much, because I hate to admit that she's funny. She is so funny to me. Talking about bleached blonde, bad built butch body. Can't stand the wench though. Can't stand her, but she is funny. She's genuinely entertaining. I feel like that's how leftists feel when they look at Trump, because you have to admit Trump is funny. Even if you don't like a single policy of his, he's funny. Jasmine Crockett is hilarious to me. But all that to say, Jasmine Crockett is up here saying that we need illegal immigrants to do what? Let's play the clip.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Someone needs to teach this girl how to code switch too, but let me not do too much because y'all gonna call me anti-black. Jasmine Crockett, we done picking cotton. Girl, I never started. But you know, there's so much to break down when it comes to this. Goofy. Jasmine Crockett. If illegal immigrants are so hardworking, first of all, if illegal immigrants are so hardworking, then why can't they work hard to pass the citizenship test? Why? At PragerU, you know, we're doing a whole sweepstakes for people who pass the sort of citizenship test. So go ahead and click the link in the description about that. But if these illegal immigrants are so hardworking, which a lot of them are, use that effort and use all the navigation skills and all the skill sets that you have to break into our country. Use that to pass the citizenship test, or get a green card, or go to college and get some kind of program to come over here. The Asians aren't having a problem doing it. Oh, wake that up. The Asians are getting their green card and their visas to come over here and study. Why can't y'all? If y'all are so hardworking, instead of picking cotton, pick up some books. How about that? But this exploitation of illegal immigrants needs to be addressed, because this is really, really, really concerning to me. To say that we need illegal immigrants here because this room full of people at a church don't want to pick cotton is insane. That is worse than the, you know, who's going to clean your toilets, Donald Trump. Y'all remember that? Do we have that clip? Do you remember that clip?
The immigration problem is a problem, and it does need to be addressed, and it does need to be fixed.
Interesting.
But making those comments, those racist comments, do not help.
And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's not...
In the sense that, no. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
There's more jobs to be
in LA, they always...
But they Latinos are not only the only people
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
I would never mean that. Gosh, these people are so racist and don't even realize it. They're so woke, they don't even realize how racist they're being. But that's the same energy of what Jasmine Crockett just said, okay? Because you want these illegal immigrants to come here and be overworked and unsafe conditions below the standards that American citizens would endure, and then pay them significantly below minimum wage or a competitive rate. That's what you want illegals here for? Oh, excuse me. Because I know that you want the illegal immigrants here so they can vote, but we're not going to talk about that today. But you want to sit here and say that you want illegal immigrants here so that they can go and pick cotton? For just the levels of ignorance in that. She should be humiliated. Because first of all, most crops, especially cotton, are harvested from machines these days, okay? They're not hand-picked. So you're ignorant in the first place for even saying that, especially to a room of what I'm assuming was a lot of black people, considering she was at this church. But the entire premise of what she just said was so racist and so ignorant. And it shows how little regard she has for these illegal immigrants, because illegal immigration is such a civil rights issue within itself. You talk about the human trafficking, you talk about the harsh conditions, you talk about the mafia and the gangs and the cartels and all of their involvement into illegal immigration. And then on top of that, you want them to come here just so they can continue to be in unsafe conditions. That is very concerning. And then also just talking about like how unsafe it is for the communities that they go to, even the ones that are here for agriculture. So I don't know if I've told you guys this story before, but I grew up in this small town called Pontiac, and it's a cornfield in the middle of cornfields, okay? Surrounded by corn. Everything about that town is based on corn. So every single summer, I am not exaggerating, busloads of migrants, because I can't just assume they're all illegal, but they are, and I know they are, and I've seen the receipts, but busloads of illegal immigrants would come to Pontiac every single summer and work in all the fields and work in all the crops, and they would get on my nerve because they would go and use our football practice field they would use to play soccer, then get mad at us when we said to get out. But then eventually over the years we ended up befriending some of them when we played soccer with them, and it was kind of a vibe. But I still called ICE when the game was over, especially if I lost, because I'm petty. I've been petty. So that being said, the reason I bring up my cornfield town is because every single time the illegal immigrants would come to town, the amount of crime that would happen in our community would spike. They would all stay at this ghetto, rundown, raggedy, nasty, dirty motel called the Palomar that they were single-handedly keeping the lights on in. It was them and drug dealers that were keeping the lights on. And you would hear about a murder happen, a kidnapping happen, all these different things would happen. Something is on fire. Let me guess. It's at the Palomar. It was almost always at the Palomar. And that is the type of chaos that these illegal immigrants bring, even though they go and they pick our crops. But it's such a myth to sit here and act like we couldn't sustain our economy or sustain our field work without illegal immigrants. No, these are just people that are being exploited, and Jasmine Crockett is essentially being a slave master by making these people into indentured servants. And also, how degrading is that to the farmers and the field workers that we have in our country? Because this really implies that farming is beneath educated Americans, or it's beneath the people that are in these churches. And that is really disrespectful to the people who are working in these fields. For you to sit there and point to the crowd and be like, I know none of you want to pick cotton, I know none of you want to work in the fields. How dare you? How degrading. Okay, farmers bust their behinds every single day. They really don't get a day off. So they really deserve a lot more respect. I feel like, especially during the COVID era, that was when I really started respecting farmers, because while everybody else was sitting at home, enjoying their air conditioning and trying to figure out what was going on, these farmers were out busting their behinds, risking it all, not knowing if this China virus was going to wipe us out or not, but they were still putting in work. They didn't have a day off. So how dare you sit there and play in the faces of field workers? And then to say this as if, like, to imply, to say the whole cotton thing, to say the picking cotton, you're obviously alluding to slavery. And I don't know why so many Black people will try to act like Black people haven't had our hand in agriculture even post-slavery. Okay, a lot of the modern farming techniques and a lot of the different, if you look into the history and the development of agriculture, Black people have had their hand in it long before, during, and way after slavery. And this narrative that Black people shouldn't be in agriculture really needs to stop. I went to a high school where we had the #1 FFA, which is an agricultural program. We had the #1 chapter in the entire country when I was in high school. And I got bullied out of doing those classes by my own family, who said that you're Black. What are you going to do? Go be a farmer? You're Black. You're going to work in agriculture. So I was too nervous to actually go and take these classes, even though it would have been largely beneficial to me. And, shout out to my cousin Nina. My cousin Nina, she ended up, when she got to high school after me, I told her, I was like, don't make the mistake that I did, because I felt like a fool. I had the #1 chapter of this program in the nation at my school, and I didn't take those courses. I told her, I was like, girl, you got to take those classes. That would be amazing on your college resume. And she ended up taking it, ended up being nationally ranked, ended up getting a full ride to school. Now she's living her best life on an island in Hawaii, making a crap ton of money in agriculture as a Black woman. So this narrative of telling Black people to stop pursuing this honest living in the world of agriculture really is a shame. And whether Jasmine realizes it or not, because I don't know how much is going on in that brain at this point, but she really just degraded Black people in agriculture, field workers, and at large, and has zero regard for these illegal immigrants. Okay. And then these people are coming here and taking away jobs. These illegal immigrants are coming here and taking jobs that, yeah, it's true though. A lot of people don't want to work those jobs. Nobody wants to work these days. Nobody wants to do manual labor these days. So all you're doing by having these illegal immigrants come and take the hard jobs, you're adding to this cushion that a lot of lazy people have these days, where they feel like they don't need to work hard because there's going to be a comfy desk job for them. You know, if there were fewer first of all, there's not enough comfy desk jobs for these people. So if you took away welfare, took away the benefits of being lazy, what's left? These hard working labor jobs. And I feel like a lot of people, if they got a hard work labor job, I feel like they would be on a lot better path than the path they end up going on. That's ridden with entitlement. Okay, these people who refuse to work, if the only opportunity for them to put food on the table is to go work in a field, I think a lot of them would do it. And a lot of them would figure out a way to build themselves within that industry. Okay, one thing I really respect about a lot of white kids, particularly in the town I grew up, a lot of the white kids, even the ones who came from money, they did not get the handouts early by any means. I remember when I did sports, there would be business owners in the area who would come to our high school and be like, if you want to work really hard and get some money, come do roofing with us. Nobody wants to go work on a roof in Illinois in the summertime when it's 100 degrees and humid. Going and working on a roof, that's not ideal for a lot of people. But you know what? A bunch of the white kids went and did it. So if you want to see a lot more of youth and people who look like us, Jasmine, working hard and getting these hard labor jobs that are an honest living, that are never going out of business, then maybe you should stop degrading manual labor. Okay? And stop inviting everybody to our country. We are full. The reservation is full. And it's hard for us to even process these immigrants, these illegal immigrants, because we have so many illegals here. I'm tired of it. I'm over here trying to kick more people out of the country. And she keeps trying to bring in criminals and keep them here. This woman is so anti-American. And that's all I have to say about Jasmine and her goofy self and her tired sliding wig with her visible lace front. Why are we jacking up the food chain? Okay, have you guys heard about this dire wolf? Okay, I want to know if you guys have heard about this. I hope you guys are send in your live chats, you know, get the conversation going. Send in your super chats too. Mr. Rodriguez, interrupt me whenever there's a super chat. But I want to know if you guys have seen these wolves that are now back. So this species, this dire wolf, I might be saying it incorrectly, but I think it's pronounced dire wolf. They have taken the species that has been extinct for like 15,000 years and literally brought it back. I'm not here for it. Okay, I'm not here for it. There are plenty of movies that show how this plays out. I don't like how far they're going with AI. I don't like these realistic robots. I don't like Jurassic Park. Okay, I'm not trying to live in Jurassic Park. Why are you bringing back extinct species? Okay, let those people, let these animals rest. And why is all this always happening in my lifetime? You know, at 28 years old, I'm tired. I have experienced COVID. I remember 9/11. I'm now seeing Jurassic Park, the beginning of it. I'm seeing the robots take over. I saw Britney Spears shave her head. Whitney Houston died. I have been through so much. And those of you who are older than me, don't even sit there and be like, well, you don't know nothing about nothing. Okay, this ain't a competition. I'm just tired of all this happening in my lifetime because I don't want to fight Reptar. Why are y'all trying to bring back Reptar? It's all fun and games until you bring back one of these animals and they're so mutated that they're immortal and then they start eating all of us. Or what if you make them too intelligent and then they start taking our jobs? It's bad enough we have to compete with illegal immigrants for our jobs. Now we have to compete with these different species that you're bringing back. All this happened in my lifetime, but let me not crash out. Because one thing about me, I'll crash out about something like this. The species has been extinct, I should correct myself, about 12,000 to 13,000 years, meaning they had no business being here. Okay, so this wolf, the dire wolf, it's much larger than a modern gray wolf. It has a very robust build, powerful jaws, meaning another thing that can bite us. Okay, You know, I used to be terrified of dogs. Fun fact about me, I was deathly afraid of dogs until I was 16 years old because I got chased by a bull mastiff when I was a kid. In retrospect, the dog definitely just wanted me to rub its belly. But when I was a little kid being chased by a dog that's twice the size that I am now, I was not here for it. But here you are bringing back Clifford, the big gray dog, and putting another dangerous animal out there in the woods so that when I go hiking and I try to camp and I try to enjoy the outdoors, now I got another thing I got to watch out for because we don't even have a Wikipedia page to tell us how to protect ourselves from this big old wolf that you're bringing back. Okay, a lot of people know these wolves from Game of Thrones. It's one of those shows that I have never watched. I'm so uncultured when it comes to so many TV shows, but I've never watched Game of Thrones. Look at that big old dog. Don't bring another dog to this world unless I can rub its belly. I'm not even a fan of pit bulls at this point because these pit bulls are out of control too, even though they're so cute sometimes. But I don't trust these pit bulls. Now you're bringing back these dire wolves. This apex predator that was literally known for hunting the large ice age animals like bison and mammoths. You want me to be okay with you bringing back a dog that can eat a bison? Please. So why are they reviving it? Well, they're trying to revive it just to show that they can, basically. They wanted to try to undo the they want to try to undo the effects of human-driven extinction, which sometimes I can only deal with so much of this history because if it's not in the Bible, where did you even get this from? Is it in hieroglyphics? How do you know it's humans' fault that these wolves are extinct? Were you there? Did your grandfather tell you that? The only person from 13,000 years ago that could tell you how these wolves went extinct is Nancy Pelosi. So unless Nancy Pelosi is the one pushing for this, I really don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it, but because they're abusing technology at this point. So they're trying to bring this animal back because they're trying to also use this technique to, you know, revive certain endangered species. Now I could see that. I could respect, you know, reviving endangered species, but all that takes is putting some of these endangered species in a little, you know, safe space and having them mate and then put them back in the society after it's done. Fun fact about me in my environmentalist era, before I was even a BLM activist, I was in my environmentalist era, which I am back in. Oh yes, oh yes. I helped revive the alligator snapping turtle species for an initiative I did in high school. So there are ways that you can revive the species without genetically modifying other animals that exist today to bring one from the past back. Oh yes. Oh yes, because they're claiming that they're trying to do this for, you know, ecological reasons and to bring them back to try to undo some of the effects in the food chain. But that doesn't even make sense. Okay. And we'll unpack that a little bit more in just a minute, but I want to explain to you how this even happened. So this group, they announced the birth of the first two puppies last October. And then is it even called a puppy? A wolf pup? Is that what you would call a baby wolf, since it's basically a big old dog? Well, the newest puppy was born in January of this year, and now that they're alive and they're growing and they're flourishing, they are known as the first successful de-extinction. Now, these wolves that we have today, these new dire wolves, they carry 20 edited genes from the original dire wolf DNA, and they blended it with gray wolf's genetics to create this hybrid to essentially resemble the extinct species' DNA from back in the day. So, and how they got that, they extracted DNA from ancient fossils of this 13,000-year-old tooth from I think it was a dog named Ohio, and like a 72,000-year-old skull that was found in Idaho. I don't know why you're taking DNA from something alive 72,000 years ago. Okay, and they use this program called, I think it's pronounced CRISPR. It's CRISPR to do gene editing to modify the gray wolf cells and insert the dire wolf's traits into it. So that's how they got the big white coat and the larger size and the thicker fur. And they then ultimately cloned that cell over and over again, and then transferred the embryos to a surrogate domestic dog, or this large hound. I don't know if it was a wolf or who ended up giving birth to these dogs, but they ended up birthing the wolf pups after a 62-day gestation. I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. But these pups now live in a 2,000-acre secure preserve in the North United States, and it's monitored by a team of caretakers. So again, I just want to know, why are we playing God? Why are we playing God? Because I really do feel like we should know better just from Jurassic Park alone. And the food chain at this point has already adapted. So them trying to use the excuse of, oh, we're trying to, undo some of the effects of, extinction of this species. It's been 14,000 years. Move on. Okay. To sit here, see, the food chain moves on. It's not like Black people who still try to hold on to the crutches of slavery from hundreds of years ago and say that that's the reason that they're broke now. Oop, yeah, I went there. It's not a situation like that. It has been 13,000 years. The food chain has moved on. The food chain did not need these big old wolves. There's plenty of wolves out there in the first place. Okay. And then I question the scientific legitimacy of this, because basically, if you read into it, they're mostly gray wolves just with the look of a dire wolf. You basically just made them bigger, like they're genetically modified fruit or something. Like it's 99% gray wolf and only 20 cells basically are dire wolf gene edits. Okay, so will those genes even stay is my question. Like, will that even be able to be maintained? Because when you put them back in the wild, how is that going to work? Are they going to be just only breeding amongst themselves? And considering it's going to be such a small gene pool at that point, is that a dangerous thing? Is the inbreeding going to cause a lot of problems? Or are they going to be interbreeding with other modern wolves? And is that then going to affect their population and their genetics? Or just completely throw off the predator and prey dynamic that's going on? That's what I'm curious about. You're disrupting the ecosystem. So by claiming that you're trying to save the ecosystem, you're really destroying it. And I'm ultimately just not here for it. Okay. Now, one last story we have for you guys today, just because it is so funny to me, this botched BBL baddie. So for those of you who do not know, gotta love PragerU content. We're always educating you on so many different things. Today, I'm educating you on Brazilian butt lifts. So a Brazilian butt lift, in simple terms, is you take the fat from various sides of your body, particularly either your lower thigh or your big back, or you take the fat from your stomach, that gut, and you pump it into your behind. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Many celebrities have them. We've talked before about Nicki Minaj. She once said that it was the standard set by someone like Lil Wayne, where Lil Wayne told Nicki that if she wanted a career, she needed to go and get her butt implants. And she did. And Nicki, in retrospect, she's not really a fan of it. She really hates how much it's impacted culture. But now BBLs are mainstream because Nicki really, really popularized BBLs, and then Kim Kardashian did. And Kim Kardashian, here's a little before and after of her. Kim Kardashian, in her early career, she had a nice build, but she was like slim. She was normal. She was what most guys ask for, by the way. Majority of men do not like these BBLs, and we'll talk about why in just a second. And we'll talk about why I'm even mentioning BBLs in just a minute. So walk with me here, please. So, here's Kim Kardashian before and after. And the ironic part is she went and got it, in a very expensive way done to where she could undo it. And, some of these girls, I actually don't know if it's implants or BBLs, but same energy. But she went and had hers undone because now BBL culture is not as hot and popping as it used to be. So she has had hers undone, while a lot of these girls put literal cement in their behinds, and now they're doomed. And a lot of these girls are dying. A lot of these Black girls are dying getting these BBLs. Then you got Summer Walker. Summer Walker, just you can see it from the front, just the shape that it adds to you. Summer Walker. That photo of her on the left is her literally just like having a social anxiety panic attack. And I remember when that photo first got posted and she was explaining it. She's like, y'all have no idea how awkward I really am. I'm like, girl, I feel that in my bones. But there's Summer before having her kids. And then after she had her kids, she got a bunch of mommy makeovers done, including her BBL. You can see the difference in her shape and that much more exaggerated hourglass figure. Then you got people like Iggy Azalea, a rapper who, again, did the Nicki Minaj prototype. She went from having a semi-flat back to, next thing you know, she needs an extra wide seat for her bosom. So all that to say, and then also let me show you guys a botched example, because those are all, expensive ones, but I'm going to spare you from seeing too many of the botched ones because some of them are really, really gnarly, but these are just... Bruh. This is what I call a shelf BBL, where they just said, forget making the thighs match. The key to a good BBL is the thighs have to match. Mr. Rodriguez. can't. I will start crying in here. These BBL, wow. It looks like that it's giving reverse kangaroo. It's like, girl, why are you built like a lowercase letter B? Like, I can't. I can't. I just can't get over this. Kind of built like a dollar sign. If they get their breasts done too, they're kind of be built like a dollar sign. You know, a little pole going up between them. Anyway, I digress. BBL baddies. This BBL lady, she had a botched BBL. And the thing is a lot of people will tell you, if you are intimate with the girl who has a fresh BBL, a lot of the times it smells really bad. And it's not from the pH being a mess. It's from the incisions. And a botched BBL tends to smell like dirty earring backs. So let's talk about this lady and show her story. Because the main reason I actually want to talk about this is not to educate you on BBLs. I'm just so perplexed by the backlash this girl got. So let's play the first clip.
So this is part 2 on why I had to get my BBL surgically removed. So in part 1, I was telling y'all how my sit-down air was stinking real bad. And it got to the point to where I had to carry around a bottle of air freshener or a bottle of perfume, because when I would use public restrooms, it would stink so bad and the smell would linger. It was like an embarrassment. I didn't want to come out the bathroom with it smelling like that and someone else was waiting at the door. When I say that BBL really ruined my life, I even lost my boyfriend behind it. He was telling me the whole time, like, you're stinking real bad down there and I can't stomach it. First I'm in denial, like, no, you're hating, you're mad, I got a BBL.
You're hating, you're mad.
It was the truth. It got to the point to where I would be washing my laundry, you know, weekly, like I've been doing before I got the BBL. When I would get my laundry out of the dryer, it would still smell like that rot-eaten flesh. I really was like... So this one day, me and my boyfriend, we getting ready, you know, to do...
I can't. That's enough. I'm going to start crying. And I just looked in the live chat. Shout out to the person who pointed out that Eli Whitney actually created the cotton gin, a black man. So just going back real quick to whack that wench, Jasmine Crockett, just to educate y'all a little bit more on black history and agriculture. But back to this woman, because this is like the opposite of farming. This is like some geo-modified behind that she went and got. So, and basically she explains here, her BBL never properly healed. So her body rejected the surgery, so she was leaking. Like literally her incisions would start leaking this rotten, bloody, flesh decaying odor that she's really lucky she'd not catch sepsis from or catch any kind of like toxic shock from, because that's really, really dangerous. But she smelled like dirty earring backs. And I've never heard someone say my sit down air, but I know exactly what she's talking about, because there's nothing worse than when somebody of a particular scent and odor sits down and then you just get a woof of them smelling like hell. Just a woof of them smelling like the dirtiest, nastiest, funkiest, musty terrorist, smelling like Hamas. Oh, I cannot stand somebody with a dirty behind and a dirty Hamas behind smelling scent. But what really shocked me is I thought that people were going to view this and be like, you know what, maybe I should find something safe to do. Maybe I shouldn't go out to Colombia and have them pump all my fat into my behind mixed with cement and silicone. Maybe I should learn from this. Or maybe, you know, not everybody has that reaction. I don't know how common that is, but I thought maybe people would look at this and be like, I should proceed with caution and really think about this and think about BBL culture. But instead, everybody's mad at her. Everybody's mad at her for having the audacity to say something about BBL culture. So let's play this follow-up.
I wasn't expecting my video to blow up like it did, but I have a lot of women angry with me. They are reporting me. They're commenting nasty things. I'm just about to delete everything and go about my business, because when I say this is crazy, it's like they removed the sound from my other video. I wasn't saying anything, but I guess I did not fit their narrative. They're not happy about my experience. That's pretty much what I was saying. They denied that. They said they're not putting my sound back up. So I'm going to just... The crazy part is so many women pissed off at me, I don't even know who to start to block so they can start reporting me.
Enough.
They're just coming.
So I understand her
rapid
100%. Because that is the story of my life. Anytime I try to put common sense out there, people try to mass report and do all that craziness. But it goes to show how sensitive people get when you have the nerve to poke a hole in their narrative. You should be lucky that she's not poking a hole in your behind, because a lot of you girls with these botched BBLs are ready to explode. Okay, you hear about a lot of celebrities who end up having their implants flip, or the silicone leaks into their bloodstream, or all these different things end up happening with these botched BBLs that you cannot undo when you get the cheap ones. You don't get the Kim Kardashian ones. You're not a big B billionaire. Okay. So this lady is just trying to educate her fellow BBL baddies or BBL baddie recruits that you got to be careful before you get these surgeries, because you might end up leaking so much that you lose your man. This girl lost her man because she thought her man was being a hater and being an op and jealous of her because she got a BBL. But really, he was trying to tell you, baby, your flesh is rotting. You smell like dirty earring backs, and it's not your pH. So, look, this is just a big learning lesson. Be careful with the company you keep, because anybody who is mad at this woman for trying to give you a forewarning, that's a bigger reflection on you than it is on her or her sit-down scent. That's all for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Respectfully. Before you go, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers. I want that plaque. I ain't gonna cap to you. I want that plaque. So I am so grateful for you guys. Be sure to go to PragerU.com. Check out all of our content. We have a new mini documentary out about comedy and the truth behind all the laughter that got us through COVID. Be sure to go check that out and let me know what you think of this episode. Love you guys. See you soon.